The ocean doesn't sleep, not in the way we understand sleep, not like a body finally giving in to exhaustion, shutting the world out for a few hours of silence. Out there, far from land, there is no off switch, there is only movement that slows, and then listens. Because when you're surrounded by nothing but water, silence doesn't feel empty. It feels aware. And that's the first strange thing people notice when they've been out at sea long enough. Not danger, not storms, just the feeling that the ocean is never truly alone. Somewhere beneath the surface, something is always moving. Dolphins are often the first to break that illusion. You see them appear beside boats like they've been there the whole time, as if they were simply waiting for you to notice them. They rise, breathe, dip back under, smooth, effortless, almost playful. And for most people, that's where the story ends. A beautiful encounter with one of the ocean's most intelligent creatures. A moment to remember, maybe even to photograph. But for those who spend enough time on the water, something else starts to stand out. They don't just appear randomly, they coordinate. Not in chaotic bursts like fish scattering from a predator, but in quiet synchronization. One movement mirrors another. One direction becomes a shared decision. It doesn't feel like a group of animals reacting to the environment. It feels like something being discussed silently, in real time. And when you're out there alone, that silence between their movements starts to feel heavier than it should. Dolphins are intelligent in a way that science has only begun to map properly. Their brains are complex, their communication layered with clicks and whistles that carry meaning we are still decoding. They use sound not just to communicate, but to see. Echolocation builds a full mental image of everything around them: objects, distance, movement, even subtle shifts in shape. To a dolphin, the ocean is not dark or unknown. It is fully visible. Every second, everywhere. And that raises a quiet, uncomfortable question. If something can perceive its entire world so clearly, what does it think when it perceives us? There are stories from fishermen and divers that don't always make it into formal reports. Not because they are impossible, but because they are difficult to explain without sounding like imagination filled the gaps. One diver in calm coastal water once described being surrounded by dolphins that didn't approach or retreat. They simply formed a wide circle around him and held position. No aggression, no contact, just presence. When he tried to swim away, they adjusted, not violently, not urgently, just enough to remain around him. He later said it didn't feel like being trapped. It felt like being observed under conditions he didn't set. Another account from a small fishing crew describes dolphins moving alongside their boat at night, matching speed for hours. Not interacting, not leaving, just pacing them in the dark water until suddenly, as if by agreement, they all vanished beneath the surface at once, leaving the sea completely still. No explanation, no follow-up movement, just absence. And that's one of the most unsettling things about dolphins, not what they do, but how completely they can stop doing it. There is a kind of intelligence that doesn't need noise to be present. It can exist quietly, processing, observing, adapting without ever revealing intention. Dolphins sit right at that edge where intelligence becomes difficult to interpret through human assumptions. Because we expect intelligence to look familiar. We expect emotion to be readable. We expect behavior to make itself understandable through patterns we recognize. But dolphins don't always follow that expectation. They operate in a world shaped by sound, movement, and constant awareness. In that environment, hesitation is rare. Precision matters. Coordination matters. Survival depends on reading everything at once. And that means when they focus on something, when a pod shifts attention toward a single point in the water, it carries weight we don't always know how to measure. Not fear. Not aggression, something closer to analysis. There are places in the ocean where people report an unusual quiet, not dead silence, but a kind of absence of typical marine activity. Fish disperse. Birds don't dive. Even dolphins are less frequently seen in those areas for stretches of time. No clear reason is ever agreed upon. And yet, patterns like that linger in stories passed between crews who have spent years at sea. Not as superstition, but as observation without explanation. Dolphins sometimes vanish from those spaces just before conditions change. Before storms, before shifts in water temperature, before migrations. It raises a subtle possibility that what looks like absence might actually be awareness of something shifting beneath the surface of what we can measure. In the open ocean, awareness is survival. and dolphins are among the most aware creatures within it. There are recorded moments where research teams studying marine life have encountered dolphins at unexpected depths, moving in formations that seem too structured to be random. Not hunting, not fleeing, just moving together with shared timing that suggests communication happening beyond human perception. When approached by submersibles or diving equipment, these groups often change direction in perfect unison. Not chaotic escape, not curiosity, just synchronized adjustment, as if the entire group is responding to a single signal, and then they disappear into the blue distance as quickly as they arrive. The ocean returns to stillness like nothing happened. And that contrast is what stays with people. Not that dolphins are dangerous, but that they are fully present in a world we only partially understand. We tend to think of intelligence as something comforting, something that brings familiarity through shared logic. But intelligence in nature doesn't exist for our comfort. It exists for survival, adaptation, and awareness of surroundings that we can barely perceive. Dolphins live inside that system every second of their lives. So when they look toward us, when they pause near boats or circle divers or travel alongside ships, it's worth asking what that attention actually means in their terms. Curiosity, recognition, or simply processing something unfamiliar in their environment. There is no confirmed answer that settles the discomfort completely. And maybe that is the point, because the ocean does not need to be hostile to feel overwhelming. It only needs to be larger than our understanding of it. And dolphins exist right at that boundary, between what feels familiar and what feels unknown. That's why they stay with us in memory longer than most sea encounters. Not because they are frightening, but because they don't fully resolve into something simple. They remain open-ended, unfinished, like a question the ocean never bothered to answer. And maybe it never will, because out there, nothing is required to explain itself. Not the currents, not the silence, and not the intelligence watching quietly just beneath the surface.